uMkhonto, weSizwe party's name is headed to the Electoral Court. The African National Congress says the MK party logo is very similar to that of its military wing with the same name. Legal analyst Zincedile Tiya joins us now for that conversation. Mr. Tiya, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time this evening. So, from what I'm hearing, there are two aspects of this process that are being undertaken. One is a patent, or what you'd say a trademark challenge, which will probably be challenged in a different court. But then there is also a potential issue of colors, which they are taking to the Electoral Court. Are these processes able to run simultaneously, and will they have an impact on challenging the existence of a party?
Thank you very much, sir, and good evening to you and the viewers at home. Let us first maybe deal with the issue of the colors. If we go to the colors, you'll remember that the PAC, APC, and the ANC are using the same colors, and therefore then you cannot have and claim a patent over a color. Yes, it goes with the trademark. For instance, the green that is being used by FNB is not the same green that is being used by Nedbank, because they operate in the same space. But be that as it may, what is interesting about this case would be that the ANC, on the question of the patent, yes, indeed, MK is well known to be part of the ANC or a province of the ANC. But when it comes to elections, MK has never been registered to contest elections, and the new MK will be registered to do so. And when we deal with the question of the patent law, on the patent law, it teaches us that whatever invention that we are bringing, there must be some newness and some creativity that is in it. Yes, indeed, with the new MK, we've seen that the assegai that is being carried by the soldier or the person who appears in the picture is not carried in the same way that is being carried in the one of the ANC MK. And also the MK logo is having black and white colors, and the MK of the new party is having black, green and gold, which I've alluded to before, that the PAC is using the same colors and the APC are using the same colors, with the APC with more of white, of course. So I'm saying therefore that it's quite a very technical case, and it reminds me the case of the ANC with the COPE. Because these MKs are operating in different spaces. The other one is a political organization contesting elections, and the other one, maybe in its very nature, it's an organization made of veterans, and remember, it's MKMVA, not only MK. As much as it's known for ANC, and one may argue that in the law of passing out, then the ANC might have a case of passing off. But be that as it may, it is going to be a very difficult case for the ANC to prove, because these MKs are operating in different spaces.
So in terms of the Electoral Act, right, there is, of course, in some instances, challenges being put out to the Electoral Court, which say, well, the colors are so closely linked to that of the other party to the point that it might confuse the voter. And it's something that the Electoral Court has entertained previously. And you've also mentioned, for example, the question of COPE and whether the name at the time would have been very close to the ANC, and they've also had to make some changes to that. Now, do you think this particular instance, the question of colors, could be something that the Electoral Court could entertain?
The issue of colors, yes, indeed, the Electoral Court can entertain it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. No, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I was arguing that the issue of colors, yes, it can be entertained. You'll still remember, even in the case of the IFP and the NFP. But be that as it may, you'll remember that the ANC and the PAC, they are using the same colors. And then obviously it would be a win-win case. And also the ANC logo does not resemble or look like the same as the one of the MK. And then the ANC, maybe even itself, when they are trying to make their own case, they will have to stick to bring a certain case before the court and not be found wanting. It's either they are contesting that they are using our MK, we have patent over MK, or else a person, on the question of passing of a person who hears anything about the MK will think it's MK of the ANC. Or else they will be speaking about colors. But if they are the colors, with the ANC, it's simply it's black, green, and gold in a flag, and there is some other guy that does not look like the one of the MK. So I'm saying that then the ANC, when they're making their case, they will need to be sure if they want to contest the issue of the colors. But if they contest colors, if I was going to be the judge, I was going to ask them, what about the case of the ANC and the PAC using the same colors? And they must convince the court why the new MK cannot be allowed to use the same colors, and why the PAC is not joining the application, and if any of the parties have patent over those colors. So that would be the questions that I would be asking if I was going to sit for the case and be hearing.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I won't be hearing the case.
So the ANC is saying, well, they have no problem with any party starting an organization or whatever it is that they want to do, but they are claiming uMkhonto weSizwe as their asset. Now, that's, I suppose, where it becomes quite interesting, because if you then, would the courts want to follow the history of when uMkhonto weSizwe would have been formulated, and what would constitute then uMkhonto weSizwe becoming an asset of the ANC and therefore cannot be used outside of that organization?
Yes, maybe the argument of the ANC to a certain extent can be political. Maybe in a legal terrain. They are correct that, yes, the MK is known to be the MK of the ANC, which was not registered to contest national elections. And the new MK that we're talking about, there is some newness, even if it's not that much. The other one is having U at the beginning and the other one is having the M. But be that as it may, the same meaning. Both for them, it's the other guy of the nation. Either you're using Xhosa or you're using Zulu, but the bottom line is the other guy of the nation. So therefore, with the ANC case, I verily believe that the ANC indeed will maybe have another hurdle to jump as to what predicament will it cause if an uMkhonto weSizwe is being used by someone else, although they are claiming it to be their asset. And now they have modified their asset to be uMkhonto weSizwe Veterans Association, which is MKMVA. So there are those hurdles that maybe when they are preparing their papers, they must look at and be able to answer, because obviously those are the questions that they would be asked by the bench, so that they may be able to convince the bench as to why they believe that they have a case and uMkhonto weSizwe must not be used by anyone else, but it must be their own baby.
Zincedile Tiya, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for your intervention. That's legal analyst Zincedile Tiya, ANC taking the challenge or the logo dispute with the MK party to the Electoral Court.